Good evening, and welcome to Cop Talk. This is your Thursday edition of Cop Talk, and we're going to be speaking about Liverpool, focusing on FSG and Fenway Group statement that we are not for sale. We'll be speaking about the Real Madrid game. We will also be talking about Crystal Palace and Wolves for our next games in the Premiership. But let's crack on. And first, let me welcome Preds. How are you, sir?
Good evening, and I'm ready for my week's therapy.
That's perfect. Lovely. And good evening, Con. How are you, sir?
Hello, guys. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
Good evening. That's an absolutely beautiful welcome. So we have a few people in the chat nice and early. So we're just going to welcome James Coles. We're going to welcome Billy Smith and Mr. Ravi. So far they're on our feed. So good evening, you guys. Let's jump straight into the mix here. FSG has made a statement this week that Liverpool is not for sale. What are your current thoughts on that, Preds?
Again, it's just a bit of confusion. It's like 1 minute we're for sale, then we're not for sale. I don't know what to believe now. All I'm going to do is be one of those who's going to toe the line and say, okay, look, I'm just going to go on what FSG has said. They've come out with a big statement saying that then Liverpool's not for sale, which hopefully will now bring a little bit of stability into not just into the team but into the club, because it's never nice your club being up in the air with the ownership and everything. So now it's a case of him doing that, making a statement, FSG making a statement. Now we want to see intent, i.e. actions. Like, if you're really going to stay, right, well, things need to be done and things need to be changed sooner rather than later. But overall, I quite like FSG, and I'm quite happy that they're not selling.
Perfect. No, that's fine. Con, any thoughts on Fenway Group's statement about the club currently not being for sale?
Well, that sort of tells me either two things have happened. Either it was embarrassing, whatever figure they were trying to give, and they couldn't get it, or secondly, they might change their mind in a year's time and think we can get more money out of this. I just don't know. I mean, what people keep moaning about FSG is they are totally there as a business. Is that them chairman's coming to own a club and putting his money into it? Them days are long gone. This is a business. They borrow money for investors. They've got to give that money back to investors. So that it doesn't really mean much to me. It doesn't mean even if they're not selling Liverpool, they're going to start splashing the money either. Just don't know.
Yeah. I think I kind of agree with both of you on that as well. And the bigger picture in that is, as you said, FSG, they're venture capital group, right? They know either way at some stage they're going to cash out. And I think John Henry's statement was basically saying that their other businesses, mainly the sporting, that they've never ever sold. As he said, I don't know all of the facts. I'm not going to give the impression that I do, but I think they were probably just trying to find out what the club was actually valued at, and then that would be able to anybody else, any other investors. I think they're just looking someone to obviously chip in to actually see if there's any extra money they can actually provide for Klopp and everybody else to purchase players. So I think they were just getting the feelers out. I didn't really think that the club was actually for sale anyway. But the strange thing is, even if we did manage to get somebody coming in to actually give us just a little bit of money as a percentage, right? This summer's going to be crazy, as part of the rebuild, because it will be interesting. Is Klopp and the club going to try and use this transfer window over the summer to buy all of these players in, or is it going to be the summer plus next year January? Either way, I think it's going to be quite interesting. But
yeah, I'm not a business guy. I ain't got a business head and all of this, capital clubs, capital companies, and all that. That I'm literally what's going on. I'm a footballing man. I support my football team. Just want to make, like any other supporter, you just want the owners to be honest in what they're doing in regards to their actions and intentions. I totally agree with you. I think they've just kind of dangled Liverpool out just to see what the what the score was with finances and the purchase price. Seeing as I think they done it not long after Chelsea was purchased. So I think they've hopefully they've got their answer. And if you're right in saying that they don't sell businesses, they keep them and keep running them, then for me personally, I actually like FSG. After the last Hicks and Gillette, we've got to be careful in regards to what we want. And at the moment, FSG are doing right by the club, in my
opinion. As we go through the show as well, anybody tuning in, if you got any other comments, we'll touch on that before the show actually finishes. A few more people in chat. Good evening, Mr. Bingy. Lovely that you've joined us. We're going to look forward to some of your comments as we move on to the next feature of this evening's show. We had a Champions League game a couple of days ago. If it's okay, I'm actually going to go last.
Can we not do the Newcastle game first?
And you know what? I was actually going to think about that for the feature today's show. We could easily have just focused on the statement for FSG, and I think we could easily have focused on our next game's play against Crystal Palace and Wolves.
Yeah.
So this next little feature we'll jump on. If it takes us 1 minute or 2 minutes, I'll be quite happy about that. And then moving on. So for our Champions League game, Con, were you able to watch the game and what was your feelings after?
I watched the game. After watching Newcastle, I myself, I didn't think Liverpool game. Even just after Liverpool struggled a 10-man Newcastle, if you told me that someone got sent off, I would have thought they would have had it. So after what's a time 1-1, it's just absolutely. I wasn't surprised by it. I won't score. Just as me. I think that he could have took Gomez. Wasn't having the best. Took him off as sooner. If a player makes a mistake, when a player makes a mistake, what I tend to do, even though I ain't bad, if a player's and he's the last guy leaving in, I let kickoff go on, and then 2 or 3 minutes after I take him off. Instead of highlighting him or that I'm taking him, and I think he could have took off Gomez. He had a shocker, but he weren't the only one. But nothing surprised me. It was like there was no plan B. There was no play. He was going to carry on playing that. If Jojo would have parked the bus, something continuous. I don't think we gave off that second. Surprised me. It just doesn't me. It just doesn't surprise me. Hence, the next ones don't surprise me. When Liverpool get 2 points, 6 anymore.
Okay, Preds, thoughts on the fixture?
Well, not really. Okay. Not many. My thoughts on the game. It's I'm getting this continual joke at work. Have you got the time? It's at 5 to 10. Is it 5-2? Is it 5-2? It's one of those where you would just have to swallow it. I'm in line to agree with Con. I wasn't really surprised. I was surprised that we've conceded 5 goals. Surprised in that manner. Losing the game, I'm not actually surprised because the way we are at the moment, we're a bit, Jekyll and Hyde. We don't know which teams come in. We've hit 2 decent games, Everton and the Newcastle game. But like Con said, I mean, the Newcastle game, if I've ever seen one team control, a 10-man team control a game, that was it, which was quite disappointing to see. So the game on Tuesday, look, we came out the blocks. Nunes was down the middle. He was very direct, and he hit the target with some venom, and we rightly went ahead. We took advantage of Courtois' mistake, but then after that, it was just we folded like a pack of cards, really, didn't we? And I mean, I could go. I was thinking on the way on tonight. I'm thinking, right, who am I going to talk about? X, Y, and Z. I just think it's about. You can't really single anyone out. It's a collective. It was a collective. Even my main man Ali had a bit of a naughty time as well on Tuesday night. So look, I just don't know. I'm like I said, I'm not surprised at the result. Not surprised that we lost, but but disappointed that we conceded 5 goals at home.
I think I'm probably similar to you as well. I think, and I know we had spoken to it about previous shows as well. We beat Everton for various reasons, and we beat Newcastle for various reasons. And I know it was interesting, some of the comments on our previous shows. People were asking, are Liverpool back? And I think all of us on the panel said, no, we're not. I think there was a sense of falsehood about the way we beat Everton. And that was a mirror image of us actually playing against Newcastle as well. But we were brought back down to earth very quickly against Real Madrid. And I mean, the thing is, we actually started off in such a positive manner. But as you said, the one thing that Klopp and his coaching staff can't do is legislate for individual errors. I think in Klopp's pre-game press conference, the main thing he was speaking about was the possibility of containing Vinicius Jr. I tell you what, he relished those opportunities early in the game, didn't he? I think his first goal, it was very, very, very good. The replay on that, when you look, there was actually 3 players actually around him, and he was still able to actually place it with his right foot around Ali into the goal. I don't think he can take anything away from that. But I think the thing that was probably disheartening for me is we had both goalkeepers actually made errors, but it was the way in which Real Madrid actually almost stabilized themselves. Yeah. And they, even though there was an error from Courtois, that didn't seem to affect them. They were galvanized. They knew what the game plan was, and they were able to execute it with precision. Whereas when we made our error, we almost seemed to sink. And that was to a man on the pitch there.
It was one of those where if we were playing a couple of teams in the Premiership, those chances would have been half chances. But when you're playing against Real Madrid, and you're letting Vinicius come into the box, and to be fair, you got a clever run from Benzema who takes Fabinho away, which then opens up that space. And like you said, we had 3 defenders around him. I would have liked someone to be closer to him, but you can't take nothing away from the finish. It was a really, really excellent finish. And that's what you're going to get when you play teams like their elite teams like Real Madrid. You give them half a chance, they will take it. Yeah,
you're right. But yeah, Vinicius had a very good game for them. Benzema, pairing as well. And I think it was interesting. You could almost see the difference sometimes in players' attributes, because you had James Milner that came on in the second half. How old is Milner? Is he 35, 36?
He's 37, I think.
37. And then you had Modric. How old's Modric? Is he 37 as well?
Modric's about 38, bro. Do you know the difference? Like, the difference between, like, Milner is half a yard short. He's running around and, he's trying to do his best. You get Modric in the... when did they score their 5th goal? Yeah, when Modric picks the ball up. He goes past Fabinho, all right? And then the young lad tries to get hold of him. He bosses him off as well. And now all of a sudden, it's like 3 against 2, 3 against 2. And then, like you say, those sort of chances, Madrid's going to take them. And Benzema, just, for him to be able to get the ball, take a touch, and then size up where he's going to pull it with 2 Liverpool defenders on the line. I mean, that just shouts out sheer class.
Sheer class, sheer class. Just before we continue speaking about the Real Madrid game, just want to welcome Pipe 71 to the show as well. Thanks for tuning in, Mr. Pipes. Spurs historian. I know that we've spoken off camera quite a lot with Pipes. I think at some stage we're going to try and get him onto the show as well. I think he speaks about some comparisons between ENIC and FSG and also how the club's being run from his point of view. So at some stage, I think it would be brilliant if we can actually get you on the show as well, Pipes. I know your views are valid as well, so we appreciate that.
I need to be educated on that business type thing.
Yeah, that would be really good. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Tabrice.
Good evening. Good evening.
Good evening.
Well.
I'm just going through some of the comments, Tabrice, and then we're just going to touch back on the Real Madrid, okay? So just bear with us if you can, sir.
Do we have to talk about the Real Madrid?
Yeah, we need it in it.
Hey, if we had to, you're gonna have to.
I know. Good evening, Mr. B. You managed to get a performance there against Barcelona. I see you actually scraped through. One thing that, even though it's not, we're not talking about the Man United game. If you can, Mr. B, can you actually put in the comments whether Roma are actually still in the same cup as you? I would love for you guys to actually play Mourinho's team if Roma are still in there. We may actually have to meet up and do a watch along if that's the case. I love that. Biggie's back in the show as well. Thank you. Good evening, sir. Mr. Vinny also back in the show as well. So we deeply appreciate that. Yeah, we're going to jump back on about this Real Madrid game in a few minutes. Demas, good evening, sir. I'm sure you're happy at Arsenal's last performance. Artie is currently unwell, so we hope that he recovers soon. That's the only reason why he's not joining us on the show this week. But I'm sure, Demas, you'll be able to message him in your private chat, and well, when he's well, I'm sure he'll be able to respond to you, sir. All right.
Got the old man flu, isn't he?
Yeah, something like that. I think he's working too hard there. It's either he's unwell or he's counting all of those millions that he's got in his house. That's what I think it is.
I think he's still counting your winnings from you, isn't he?
I think so. But Tabrice, we had just touched on really briefly before you joined us on the show. It'd be lovely just to hear your feedback, whether it's brief, whether it's long-winded, whether it's filled with emotion or a nice analytical view. What were your thoughts personally on the Real Madrid game?
This is therapy, bruv.
He's got a banner.
Oh my God, look, he's got his tea towel. He's folding his tea towel. Sit back, everybody.
Is that Iron Brew?
Yeah, let's see, Liverpool, the current Liverpool football squad is not good enough. I don't even want to go into the game.
Please do. As Pred says, this is our therapy.
So, let's talk about Klopp's in-game management and his in-game substitutions. I feel very sorry for Joe Gomez. You don't substitute your centre-back at 70 minutes with another centre-back. Why didn't Matip start? Matip's probably been one of our best defenders probably for the past couple of years. I think, Van Dijk coming in after a hamstring injury, it was a little bit too much, personally. But again, I don't want to be that sentiment FC. I can want to be crystal clear without swearing and without waffling too much. Real Madrid schooled us from when Vin Jr. scored his first goal. Modric, Benzema, and actually we are talking about players who are in their mid-30s now. Modric is 37, and he kind of ran past Fab and Stefan as if they weren't there.
Yeah.
Listen, we. 'Cause, 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 'cause,
We got schooled, mate, and it's exactly like I love it when Tabrice comes on, right? Because before Tabrice comes on, I'm like, we're gonna get lost. And I've heard a couple of words from Tabrice, and all of a sudden now I'm like, yeah, you know what? He's right.
That's what I said. Tabrice needed to come on, and we have those good opinions. I mean, Bingy's mentioned something which is quite accurate, actually, in the comments. And obviously, for anybody tuning in the comments, Bingy does actually support Liverpool, and his comments were, "We're fragile," and it showed. He didn't think Stefan should have started. Just thinks that moving forward, it might actually affect him. And his opinion was that maybe Naby probably should have started as well, just because he's got a little bit more experience, ball retention, and probably breaking up play. I think it was interesting. I was trying to break this game down in so many different ways. All right. Look, the result is what it is, but I was more concerned about the performance, right? I think even if the error from Ali didn't come when it did, I think at some stage Real Madrid would still have been in control of this game. I think you can obviously see that Valverde, was it Camavinga that played in the middle of the park?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and obviously Modric. You can obviously see that they've got a very, very, very good partnership. And at the beginning of the game, you can see Nunes and Gapco were actually stretching. Was it Melito and Rudiger that played centre back, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But it seemed once they got that second goal, I just still cannot get out of my head how the game actually turned so quickly, and then you can actually see the experience from Real Madrid. There was absolutely no panic at all. As if they knew, you know what, we've come to Anfield, you've got your crowd. I would like to actually add that standing ovation that Modric actually got from the Anfield crowd was serious, and that is a serious mark of respect there as well for him. But
Forget about respect, man. You know what? Listen,
they were just in complete control.
Listen, I mean, you know what? Any elite European, actually any kind of elite footballer, we all respect them before they even walk onto the pitch. Yeah, I'm not clapping no opposition off. I'm not. Like how, like, you know, how, like,
clap him because he smashed us. Yeah,
he's really smashed us. He's like, you know, I'm not clapping no. I'm clapping no player off. I'm sorry. I'm not clapping no. Like it's embarrassing, you know. And then there's Klopp grinning his teeth, like he does that every single game. It's like, what are you seriously? Like, what are you thinking? Like, you are kind of looking at like a very poor Liverpool team, and the subs we bring on, James. Come on, we bring on James Milner and Harvey Elliott. Okay, Harvey Elliott still inexperienced. Yeah, exactly what you said, Stoney. Real Madrid were even at 2-0, they were still in control of the game.
Still in control.
They were still in control. Yes, I think there was a penalty shout at 2-2. It was the Real Madrid right back that actually pushed Darwin in the back.
Yeah, that is it. Carvalho. I think
yes,
his name was.
yes,
yeah.
Which like for me was a penalty. That was a penalty. Apart from that contentious decision, listen, Real Madrid schooled us, and you know they were toying with us. Even you know, like literally, it was as if it was like that, you know, like a training session to them. It was honestly, it was hard to watch because again, you know, I think, you know, I know people talk about FSG and whatnot. This has got nothing to do with the board.
No,
we have to be looking at our kind of playing style. Yeah, we kind of have to look at management. How has kind of Pep Linders and like Jurgen Klopp lost the plot? Have they actually run out of ideas? That's really what you have to look at now.
You know what? You hit the nail on the head, because before Con went, he mentioned it in regards to, like, we didn't have a plan B. We didn't have a reaction. And I think for me, the game got killed off from the third goal. The third goal went in, and that was it. Like, we were gone. And the way we defended that free kick was, it was, you know what? I don't even want to disrespect Sunday League players, because like the way they all lined up in a row, in a line. Not one person reacted to the ball as it went through. Great ball in. It's a really it's a one of those undefendable balls. But then the way we were set up, we was always going to struggle to defend it. And if you look at it, there are 3 players in the box.
Yeah.
Have we ever considered a goal like that since Klopp has taken over? In terms of, if you freeze frame exactly how how the ball went in, and you look at 8 of our players, including the goalkeeper, 2-3 yards away from our goal line.
Yeah.
We've never defended like that. Like, who's the person to take charge? Like, Van Dijk, an amazing player, but he's not been the same since like the Pickford injury. Let's be real. Salah was, struggled. Actually, everyone struggled.
Everyone. Even down to Robbo.
Yeah.
Everybody struggled.
And don't you see like the contrast in the squad? Like, not even the squad, the starting 11 for Real Madrid in contrast to our starting 11. That's there is where the telling facts are. You've got a really strong, experienced, skillful Real Madrid who have no fear, and you're absolutely right. Even when they went 2-0 down, I still didn't see them panic. So we've got a lot to learn, and I'm in line to agree with Fabrice. The management and the players have a lot to answer for that performance.
Go ahead, Con.
The question.
Yeah, if you don't keep cutting out.
Go ahead, Con.
I was going to say sport.
He's going to have to write it in, isn't he?
That's a bit of a tricky one, Con. We're hearing.
You lost the.
He's struggling.com, isn't he?
Sorry.
If you're able to, Con, sign very briefly, but you're cutting in and you're cutting out. You might need to sign out and come back in. It's either that or you sign out. You're riding a bicycle very fast.
Very fast, boy.
Cutting in, cutting out.
It must be on one of his deliveries.
We'll just wait for to come back in. Was there anything positive that you could have taken away from that Real Madrid game? Anything positive?
Núñez scored, which personally for him as a striker, he wants to get a bit more confidence going. But I've really got to be honest. I try to be a real positive guy and try to take the positive out of the negatives. But it's really, really hard to be positive on this game. Really, really hard. Really difficult. I mean, the positive thing is that the crowd and the supporters in the ground were loud. They done their part, and I'm just I'm scratching now. I really am.
Any positives to take away from the performance at all, Fabrice? Even if it was one minute. While you're thinking, for me, even though it wasn't a team performance, I suppose it's an individual thing. Salah's obviously got his record now, hasn't he? All-time Liverpool goal scorer for Europe. I suppose that's probably only a plus point. I watched the game. I actually watched it back, which is quite surprising of me, actually. I did actually do a rerun. And it probably hurt even more watching it the second time around. One of the things that probably hurt me when you guys were mentioning about was it from the corner?
Free kick.
Was it a free kick? Where Gomez didn't pick 10 because we lined up zonal marking. Gomez didn't pick anybody up and then he scored. Was that from the free kick?
Yeah.
From that side, from the right hand side. That was irking me quite a lot as well. I understand we set up zonal marking, but those little things there just really frustrated me. The plan B, while Fabrice, I can still see he's in thought process. So give me one more second on this. When we about the plan B, we've actually got 2 assistant managers, haven't we? It's Pep and there's someone else. Is it Peter? Someone. I think they all need a rethink anyway. But anyway, sorry, Tabrice, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
I got a joke. I got a joke, and it's the person in the chat that actually said it to me. James Coles, credit to him. I had to laugh. What's the difference between Liverpool fans and a battery?
That's deep. I'm going to be here forever. I have no idea.
A battery has a positive. A battery has a positive side.
This guy, Listen, we're going through a flutter. All right, it's going to hurt. We're actually going through a flutter. When we started the show, we were in the process of building something. All right, and during Cop Talk, we were able to have opportunities in games where we spoke about, pushing for the Champions League, pushing towards the league, pushing towards reaching the Carabao Cup final, pushing towards reaching the FA Cup final. This is a flutter. It's going to hurt. It's going to hurt, regardless of whether money comes in now or, for January next year. That rebuild is going to be massive. We're going to be going through some in different times, and it's going to hurt. So it's fine. I can take that. I can definitely take that.
Like I said. I mean, me personally, like we had this conversation last week, and Therese said, do you ever think that Liverpool are going to lose? Now, on the outside, no. On the inside for this game, absolutely. Like, we've won the last 2 games, not convincingly, but that was only like it was like a plaster over a little crack. But when you're coming into the Champions League now, that's a whole nother level.
Yeah.
And we're not ready for that. We're not ready for that level, like Real Madrid's level. So it was painful. But I had to watch it. I watched it 3 or 4 times, just to kind of sink in. Like, did we actually concede 5 goals at Anfield?
And they were convincing goals as well.
Exactly. It weren't no unlucky goal. I mean, look, the second goal was a bit of a freak goal, but you can't say that they weren't worth their 5 goals.
No, definitely.
I wouldn't even say the second goal was a freak goal. It was just laziness from the Alisson. And again, Vinny Jr. Actually kind of ran down the shot exactly how Salah did against Courtois. So again, it's just laziness from
but those two situations were slightly different in regards to Vinicius kind of ran in the line of the pass, whereas Courtois miscontrolled it on his knee, and then it just bounced to Salah and Salah's thingy. So, I'm going to back Ali all the way. I mean, he's won us more points than he's lost us, and that's my goalkeeping union coming out. So I would just say it was an unfortunate situation that happened. I mean, like you say, Therese says it was lazy. As a goalkeeper, I think it was just one of those freak situations. 9 times out of 10, you're passing it. He's passing it, and it's going past Vinicius. It was just that one moment where it was just a lack of quality, which then we got punished for it. But we got punished. We got punished all night for the lack of quality.
100%. Just before you continue and you add our thoughts, we just got a few new people to the channel with their comments. I appreciate that. It's like the Cartoon Network, so I'm not going to be clicking on anybody's comments, but I will actually welcome Mr. John Stephen, who seems to know you, Tabrice. So welcome to the show, Mr. John Stephen.
He's an avid Manchester United fan, and he's like on one of my other social media platforms, and he trolls me. He trolls me about Liverpool every single day. He trolls me.
Well, listen, I'm glad he's joined. He's having a nice little conversation with a lot of people in the comments here. So good evening, John Stephen. James Cole, if I haven't already said good evening. Mr. B there as well. I think he's the referee joining in and sharing some of the jokes and humor. So it's all good. We don't mind a little laugh on the show. Our backs are very, very, very strong. So we're used to it. We've got no problem with that.
I've got my Kevlar on, mate. Don't worry about that.
Thank you. So first leg, 5-2. What happens in the second leg? What do you envisage happening in that second leg? Are we seeing are we going to see the same type performance? Are we going to see a little bit more tactical awareness? Are we going to see a change of players? What do we expect from the second performance? Listen, I'm very realistic. We are not going to the Bernabeu to win 4-0, okay, to get through. We're not. We don't keep clean sheets, really, especially against Real Madrid. So what would you like to see from the second leg? Preds.
Well, I was going to say, I've got to be honest, if Liverpool come out and get a result, right, I'm saying this out now live. If we go out to Madrid and we get a result and we get through, I'm not creaming my back heel for our whole of the season. I'm gonna walk around with my chest out with my dry back heel. Telling you now. But I got to be honest, I don't see it happening. Right? What do we want to see? Well, look, I want Liverpool players to go out and give a good account of themselves and give 100% percent into the game. We can't. I can never say that players are not trying hard enough. They all trying hard. They all tried really, really hard Tuesday night. But it's going to take a huge effort, a huge slice of luck, and a huge amount of Real Madrid not being on their game for us to go to get anything out of that game.
So
you know what? Yeah, anything can happen. Anything can happen. We've seen, was it PSG beat Real Madrid? A crazy score a couple of seasons ago, I believe. So anything can happen. But in the form that we're in, I would really just like to see, just a bit of pride and heart. That's, I know that's kind of a bit of a cop out, but
would you like to see different personnel play? Would you like to see, if they're fit, would you probably like to see Naby get a game? Would you like to see Bobby start?
No, I don't want Naby, because if he's not signing a contract, then just kind of let him just stay where he is. Like, we're not gonna, he's another player that's taken an absolute mick take. I would like to see Jota start, Bobby as well. Does Van Dijk have to start? Not really. But yeah, I would just like to see just a little bit of heart. But again, we are going to the Bernabeu. We're going to, we're like European champions. We've but that's all we can ask for right now. However, stranger things have happened.
Yeah. So as you said, we'll look forward to this space. I think the question was presented to Preds and to Brees, what we can probably expect for the second half. As I said, we got some chucklers in the comments.
I know.
Pipes has said we should actually forfeit the second leg. Listen, could you imagine?
After Klopp's interview yesterday on Tuesday night, I thought he was actually going to forfeit the game.
Forfeit it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
They were like, they say Carlo Ancelotti thinks that the game's not done. Yeah, the game's done.
Yeah, 100%. It's definitely done. All right, so we're going to draw a line underneath the Real Madrid game. We have got Crystal Palace and Wolves next. And then we got Crystal Palace, Wolves. And then this is something here. James Cole, is this Tabrice? Is this somebody that you're aware of, Mr. James Cole?
Yes. Another troller.
Perfect. So what we're probably going to do, James, if you are able to, we played Manchester United. It's the Sunday the 5th, isn't it? Sunday the 5th of March?
The 5th of March.
James, if you're able to communicate with Tabrice, we will have our Thursday show after the Man United game. You're more than welcome if you are available. Communicate with Tabrice and we'll get you on the show, James. We'll absolutely love to hear your comments in real time. All right. So we're just putting that up.
Is he a Man United supporter?
Yeah, James supports Man United.
No, I don't want to know. No, I don't want to hear none of his comments. I don't want to hear none of the Man United comments. I tell you what, right? I got to have a word with you lot, right? You inviting geezer from Chelsea. You invited geezer from Man United. You're talking about Spurs historians. I mean, I got to be honest. Lee, Lee, get well soon, son. Get well soon. We've got to have a chat.
Oh, dear.
All right. So, we've got Crystal Palace on Saturday. We're away. Patrick Vieira's side. They're still a little bit hit and miss. Give me your preview and your thoughts going into this game. Crystal Palace, Liverpool.
Well, you know what?
Tell me a little bit about it. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, go on, Bruce. You go into.
It's a double game week because we got Crystal Palace and Wolves. So let's focus on the Crystal Palace game first.
So Palace, it's a tight little ground. Yes, Patrick Vieira and the squad have not been performing. However, they've got match winners. Eze, Elise, Zaha. I'm sorry, I can't see us winning that game. Not at Sellers Park. I mean, their crowd. It's literally one of. I say it's definitely one of like the noisiest around. Again, I used to live around there. So I used to hear everything coming from that area. So, but no, I can't see us getting anything from that game.
Oof. All right, Preds, Crystal Palace. We have the last time Crystal Palace, and listen, this is the beauty. You see, you can have as much stats, you can have as much conversations as we do about history, but when it comes to Liverpool, everything goes out the window. The last time Crystal Palace beat us at Selhurst Park was in 2014.
And
history will mean absolutely nothing when we play against them on Saturday. So sorry to interrupt you, Preds. What are your thoughts going into this game, and what can you do? What can you see the result being?
I'm going to completely disagree with you about history has nothing to do with this game. History has everything to do with this game. I'm still scarred from the FA Cup semi-final, like 30 odd years ago. I'm still scarred from us being 3-0 up at Selhurst Park on the way to the league title, and all of a sudden, I'm scarred. And we're going to Crystal Palace in the form that we are in, and Crystal Palace are our bogey side. And Crystal Palace, like Teresa said, have got game winners. All they need is consistency. Once they get consistency, I think Palace will do really, really well. But we're going to be up against it, and it's going to be hopefully. I don't want it to be another situation when we play Brentford where we got physically beaten, as well as beaten with the ball. We got out muscled. They had more intensity than us. And kind of Crystal Palace are in the same mold in respect of, they like to be in the intensity. They like to be quite physical in areas as well. Yeah. So, it's going to be another test for us. It's going to be difficult, but like I said, on camera, I'm always going to say Liverpool win.
Yeah, definitely. And then after that fixture, then we've got a double game week. So we've got Wolves again, haven't we? After the Palace game. How do you see that fixture faring, Tabrice? Same old.
Listen, 2 games in a week with the squad that we have. That is a tall ask. It is.
It's a tricky one, ain't it?
It is a tricky one.
But you know what? There's a silver lining in before Bruce goes on. The silver lining is that yes, we've got 2 games in 3 days or whatever it is. But we've also got players like Firmino and Jota. They are starting to come back slowly but surely, and that will give them game time. And I think when you're coming back from injury, you want to play. You're going to train, and you're going to try and stagger your minutes in games. But I think this might help the likes of Firmino and Jota, and who else is coming back from injury? I mean, Diaz. Did they say Diaz is kind of?
Yeah, I still think Diaz is a little way.
He's a little way.
He's probably with what's his name, Thiago. They're both probably looking at about mid-March.
Yeah, but. Yeah. So, and who else is there? Someone else?
Was Carvalho injured, or he's just not, or he's just not being picked?
I think he's just not being picked.
Okay.
Yeah, something, and I think we just don't have the legs in the middle of the park. 2 games back to back. I mean, again, Henderson came off, and then Milner came on. Don't know. I'm kind of so I don't know where Ox is.
What's happened to Curtis Jones as well? What's happened to Curtis Jones as well?
Literally, what's going to happen to this Arthur Melo? This, again,
True, you're right.
we are the laughing stock. Come on, a laughing stock. We have a midfielder on loan that came to us injured, and I can guarantee you, he won't play. He won't play this season. So it's again against Wolves. Toss a coin, which is probably the wrong thing for me to say right now. But we if we don't get any, I would say we would need a minimum of 4 points from the Palace and Wolves game to really stand a chance to actually get into the Champions League spots. If we don't win any of them, then you know what? Let us just finish 10th outside this Europa conference and whatnot, and let's just concentrate on the league next season.
So just before Pred's comments on that as well, as he said, this is a strange thing as well, all right? You see those two. So who's fourth? Tottenham are fourth. They're 42 points, right? Yeah. And Tottenham have played 2 more games with us. In theory, this is crazy. 38, 41. We could actually be, with those 2 games there, Tottenham got 2 games in hand, we could actually be above Spurs in a Champions League position in 2 games. Still doesn't make sense, does it?
Doesn't make sense.
No, but that's the crazy and the beautiness of the football and Premiership. It's so entertaining, and I think it's really good that there is not just one team dominating the league. And it is crazy that if we do get the 6 points, we're back in there after everybody saying that we won't. Listen, on that score in the Premiership. Listen, we've got to try and keep the momentum going in the Premiership. The Wolves game. Listen, they're organised. They're 3 points off the bottom 3. They're fighting for their lives. They played really well recently. They played really well against us recently. So it's going to be a very, very close game again. But hopefully our quality will hopefully surface and win us the game.
Definitely.
We need more players to actually not play on instinct. I think Salah and Darwin are playing on instinct. I think Gakpo is also playing on instinct. In certain games, you can do that, but now we're coming to the business end of the season. We need players, we just need to work to a system. And I can just again, even with Darwin's goal against Real Madrid, we've seen him do that against Fulham, and he's been trying that throughout the whole season. So we know he's actually got that in the bag. Now, we need to see repetition, kind of goals that look like, he's been
from a training ground as well.
Yeah, what I'm saying, almost like a Harry Kane, Alan Shearer, type of goals where that they've been practicing this rather than working on instinct, because instinct can only get you so far.
You see in between these games, as he said, I haven't played, at a high level of football, not a professional or anything like that. Never been in that environment. How much time do you reckon? And we're just talking about professional teams, right? Not just Liverpool. How much time do you reckon they have in between games to actually be looking tactically? The coaching staff, Klopp and all the assistants, how much time do you think they actually have tactically to make these new players implement what they want before the next fixture? I wonder what that time looks like, that time scale looks like. Because obviously they got training, they've got, physiotherapy, they've got recovery time. I wonder what that technical side actually looks at. Because Tabrice actually hit the nail on the spot there about, this certain position that Harry Kane's in, and he's scoring. One, because he's obviously technically gifted, but also, that he's being coached to be in that position, and he's also going to strike as well. So I wonder how much time they're currently being given these new players here.
Well, I should imagine that.
in.
I should imagine that they've been given a lot of time, enough time. Look, you got to remember, football has come so far from back in the day, where you've got now performance analysis, fitness analysis, you know, the videos analysis, where they'll sit down as a collective and individually. They'll get that feedback as well. You're probably going to be going into training in the little sessions. The little sessions build up to the big picture. So these sessions that they're going to be doing to get an idea of our philosophy, I should imagine it's been going on throughout the season. For the likes of Gakpo, it's going to be one of those where he's just got to hit the ground, well, not hit the ground running, but unfortunately, the situation we find ourselves in, he has to get thrusted into there straight away. But he's had plenty of game time. What was that, PSV?
Yeah, that's correct.
So he had plenty of senior game time at PSV. So you'd expect him to, and he's an intelligent lad as well, apparently. So hopefully it's going to take time. I think I'm more hopeful in our forward lineup. I'm quite enthusiastic about that, our forward line at the moment, because we've got a variety of players who can rotate. It's just that midfield, which is a problem for us, and it's been a problem not just for this season. It's been a problem for the last 2 seasons. I mean, so it's not a new thing, but I mean, we can only hope that the next 2 games they feel the effects of this last defeat against Madrid, and they react in the right way.
Brilliant.
Well, yeah, I think we've been privileged to see the behind the scenes at Arsenal, Man City, Spurs. So, and of course, it's been edited down, but exactly what Perez said. They literally go into really fine detail about every player's stats, opposition. And again, if you're being paid handsomely, you would expect the resources and personnel to be acting a certain way. I can imagine in training, individual training sessions, they are practicing, they are kind of doing certain things. I think with Darwin, I don't know if his English is actually good, so I don't know how that's kind of coming across. But again, it's not really about fitness at this stage of the season. It's it's really down to finer details. If you're kind of going on crazy sprints and like long jogs at this stage of the season, then there's something wrong. This is now about fine tuning your positional sense. Again, I think everyone, no matter how old you are, can actually improve headering, striking a ball, tackling it, etc. So I would expect the kind of background staff to be doing everything possible to kind of remedy this kind of virus that we have in this. Well, it's not a virus, but the kind of inconsistency that we can have at this present moment in time.
Fair enough. So just before we come to a close for this week's Kop Talk, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Once again, I'd just like to thank everybody for tuning in today. James, it was lovely hearing your comments. Bingy, big shout out to Mr. B. John Stephen, thanks again, as we said earlier, for joining in. First time putting comments on the show, definitely valid. Vinny, thanks very much as well for sharing some of your comments in there. Pipe 71, who else jumped in earlier today? Ravi was in the feed as well today as well. So don't forget, and obviously Demos as well. Can't forget Demos and Billy. We will be back on Kop Talk next week, Thursday at 10 p.m. for our regular show. Hopefully Artie will rejoin us. Hopefully he'll recover from his illness. I said, once again, we're putting it on air. Hopefully you recover well, sir. And Preds, just want to thank you once again for joining in for the show and sharing your thoughts. I know it would have been hard for us to discuss Real Madrid, but hey, we're always here.
Yeah, well, like I said, mate, it's therapy. You had to get it out. I'm now, reinvigorated, and I'm waiting for the game to kick off on Saturday evening against the Palace. Come on, the boys!
Perfect. To Bree, sir, thank you very much for joining in today's show. I just want to echo my thoughts, what I said to Preds just a minute ago. I know that is really hard for us to obviously come on and speak about Real Madrid, but as I said, we're here through thick and thin. And as I said, just deeply appreciate your thoughts and your comments.
No, thank you
Today as well.
Again,
yeah.
Thank you guys for having me. Honestly, I've actually got my blood pressure machine around. So
same here, mate. Same here.
Yeah, but hey, we literally love the club, and literally we like want the best. So, and again, sometimes we can literally air our views out of frustration, but the kind of general consensus is it's all out of love.
Absolutely. Couldn't have put it better myself, China.
Definitely. All right, then. Yeah. Thanks once again, Preds. Thanks once again to Bruce and everybody joining in this week for this edition of Cop Talk. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And we look forward to seeing everybody next week, Thursday at 10. Good night, everyone.
Be safe, everyone. Be safe. See you next week.